everyone, and welcome once again. It's that time. It's January 7th. Man, we're into the new year. First week in the new year, and happy New Year to you all. I am JT, aka the Master, and this is, as you can see, for no reason fantasy football. We got a great show in store for you today. We're talking about a 2024. This is 2024, people. This is 2024. Okay. And as you can see, you want to contact me? JT at MagicMan1954 on X. Okay. I'm going to talk about a few things. Okay. We're talking about a few things. We're talking about uh the fantasy football season in the past, and we're going to be talking about the fantasy football in the future. This is week 18. Most playoffs, majority of leagues do not have a week 18 championship. Makes no sense. You got a lot of teams, just like yesterday. Oh, yeah, you got a lot of teams, just like yesterday, that don't play their starters. So you're not getting a true reflection of a team or players that you can use in fantasy football. Now, some may make the argument, well, then that's part of being a good manager, being able to realize who's going to be playing and try to put those players in. But come on, man, it's not the same. It's not the same. And if you really into fantasy football, you want the best players to play, not backups. Come on, man. You want the best players to play, and not backups. They're backups for a reason. They're backups for a reason. Okay? So let's talk about yesterday's games. We had the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game. Pittsburgh Steelers won. We had the Texans at the Colts. I like the Texans. Both yesterday. When I called it on air yesterday at FSP show at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday afternoon. 2 for 2. 2 for 2. Okay? And I'm not going to go over all these games. I mean, even though you may want me to, but I talked about it yesterday. If you go to Fantasy Sports and Politics or Victor Gardner and look up that on YouTube, you can follow it on YouTube, and you can find out what was said and what we like in Victor's teasers at the end. Victor's teasers at the end. And I'll give it to you real quick. I'm gonna give it to you in the beginning, and then we can go through fantasy football 2024. I usually do it the second week of the month. I'm making an exception this week. I want to go over 2024's this week versus next week. And I don't want to make the same mistake I made prior. Okay. Saying that a rookie was going to be the number one pick when obviously it wasn't. He shouldn't have been. And I think I was maybe a year or two too early on CMC when CMC clearly was the number one back to be. Okay. And when I'm talking about CMC, Christian McCaffrey didn't sustain an injury of any type. Did not injury of any type until the last week in the championship, which is unfortunate because most people who had Christian McCaffrey played him, and I can't blame him. I would have. and he didn't give a typical Christian McCaffrey win. He didn't. Okay, and you can't do anything about that. That's just the luck of the draw. The luck of the draw. And it happens. People, it happens. And you have to just deal with it. Unfortunately, you have to deal with it. And hopefully, I was playing against somebody at Chris McCaffrey, okay? And unfortunately, I lost. Not because of Chris McCaffrey. I lost because I had unforeseen circumstances, which happens. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it happens. And I've talked about it forever. That part of his skill, put players in a position that you think are going to perform, and part of his luck. And the luck part of it is that the luck part of it is this. Some things happen and you can't foresee it. You can put your best players in position and they don't show up, or they give you minimal points when you need a typical, not extraordinary, a typical performance. And you don't get that. So whoever wins the championship is very fortunate. Is very fortunate to get to that point, and very fortunate to complete that mission in winning a championship, because it's part of skill and a lot of luck. And unluckily, and unfortunately, I had bad luck. It happens. I've talked about it. I'm not going to brood over it. It's a tough pill to swallow. I admit it. I'm human. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is. When you lose by a minuscule amount of points, it's really a tough pill to swallow. Okay? Point two is what I lost. 0.2. Not 1, not 1.2. 0.2 is my loss. It is what it is. I can't change it. Can't change it. And I'm not even going to break down the circumstances that I got that 0.2, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I had plenty of guys I could have put in that would have given me more than enough points on my bench, but my bench ain't doing me no good in starters. Ain't doing me no good. It is what it is. Just got to live with it and accept it. I got no choice. Got no choice. Anyway, I want to go along and talk about 2024 and the fantasy football season. And what I see in the beginning of this year, I've done it for years now, at least maybe close to 10 years. Get my mock draft starting in January, ending in August, September, in that time frame. And give me my thoughts on who I think should be the number one. Who I think should be the number one. And I'm going to reveal this. And I'm going to go from 12 to number one. And give you my reason why I'm thinking these guys should be where they're at. So here we go. Okay. At number 12, my initial sake. I'll put it that way. Hello. JT, Jonathan Taylor. He began the year on the IR and missed 3 games in December with a thumb injury. But when JT was active at midseason, he reminded us that one of the most talented runners in the game. I can't wait to see the read option stuff that Taylor and Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson are going to bamboozle opponents with next season. I can't. Come on, man. Come on. JT. And JT did not actually have a chance to play with Anthony Richardson. Now imagine that combination. A dynamic runner in Anthony Richardson and a quarterback, and a dynamic runner and a running back, and also a running back in Jonathan Taylor. Come on, man. That's a deadly combination. I don't have the stats, but when you have a mobile quarterback that's can do the read option, or it only benefits that running back that much more. Only benefits that running back that much more. Okay? And we're talking about Jonathan Taylor, who in his own right is a very good back. Very good back. All right. And then we're going to go with the number 11. As you can see, sitting right there. One of the best backs, and surprise. You know, I talked about this, and I'm not giving myself any kudos, but I had talked about this guy last year, and he had all kinds of health issues because I didn't like Cam Akers. Cam Akers played pretty well near the end of the season and kept Kyrie Williams on the bench for the Los Angeles Rams. Well, Sean McVay, in his ultimate wisdom this season, realized who the best back was, got rid of Cam Akers, shipped him off to Minnesota. And here comes Kyrie Williams. Williams was higher on some people's boards. I can be a little snooty about measurables and prospect pedigrees. Williams is smaller and slower than Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Robinson and Gibbs were the first-round draft picks, and Hall was an early second. Williams was a fifth-rounder. Williams has proven to be a terrific running back, and Rams head coach Sean McVay, I told you about that earlier, is willing to force-feed Williams in much the way he force-fed Todd Gurley a few years ago. You know, maybe I need to get over my hang-ups about measurables or pedigree. Now, it's like if you're going to date a person, you meet someone who's smart, funny, interesting, and makes you feel a tingle whenever you're around them. Should it matter if the person doesn't look like a supermodel? No, it shouldn't matter. That person fits you, then that's the person for you. Plain and simple. That's the person for you. All right, let's move on to number 9. Now, Breece Hall has gone berserk down the stretch with 33 carries, 179 yards, two rushing, and 21 and 138 and 1 receiving in week 16 and 17. Now, is that a preview of things to come in 2024? The Jets will likely have Aaron Rodgers back at quarterback, which helps Breece Hall fantasy outlook. If the team can do something about that offensive line, the sky is the limit for Breece Hall. And the fact is, I have him at 9. He may be warranting something higher because of those factors. Improving the offensive line and Aaron Rodgers coming back. Okay? He may warrant something other than at being at number 9. At being number 9. Now, I bought into the hype. I don't normally buy into the hype. I don't normally buy into the hype, but people, I bought into the hype, and I'll admit it. But this guy's got a ton of talent, and used the right way, and it used like CMC. If you use him like CMC, his talent will come to the forefront. His talent will come to the forefront. But if you don't, then you'll have what you have this year. But I think I think this. Well, I'm going to put it this way. And I don't like to wish ill will on anyone, but it would benefit. I'll say it this way. It would benefit Bijan Robinson if the head coach was more of a running back friendly head coach, more of a creative offensive mind than the present head coach. If it would benefit Bijan Robinson and that offense of the Atlanta Falcons if the head coach was more of a creative mind or had a offensive coordinator, I'll put it that way, had an offensive coordinator that was a creative mind and got the running back and his weapons more involved. Now there's talk that Eric Bieniemy could be a candidate for the Atlanta Falcons. Now think about that. Eric Bieniemy was a running back. Was a running back in college, running back in the NFL, running back coach for the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. Was a running backs coach for Jamal Charles. If you don't know who Jamal Charles, look it up. Very dynamic and exciting running back. 5'11", 5'10", 199, give or take a few pounds. Well, Bijan Robinson is 5'11", 5'10", 215, and can fly. Not as fast as Jamal Charles, but he's in that low 4.3, 4.4 range. Come on, man. You think Eric Bieniemy doesn't know how to exploit the talents of a dynamic running back like Bijan Robinson? That's why I have him here. Even if Arthur Smith, the misuse of Robinson by Falcons head coach Arthur Smith, was jaw-dropping. It's absurd that Bijan only had 23 more carries than teammate Tyler Algier. 23 more carries. That's what? 2 carries? Maybe, no, not even 2 carries. Less than 2 carries a game. Smith, and I don't think he's going to be the head coach next year. And a new play caller should be able to unlock Bijan's talents. Come on, man. The Atlanta Falcons went out on a limb and drafted a running back at number 8 in the 2023 NFL draft. Number 8. You don't draft a running back and get it and misuse him like he got misused this year. Because when he was able to get decent touches, he displayed his talent. He displayed his talent. And everybody knew it was there. You heard me say this, and I'll say it again, and I'm just gonna come on, man. You sit on the couch or sit in your favorite chair and watch football games. And if you're really into football, you start yelling at the screen because you can see that certain players get misused or not used in the right way. And you're not getting paid anything for that. And you can see it. These coaches or head coaches or offensive coordinators, whatever you want to call them, get paid millions of dollars to make those calls and make horrible decisions. Obvious, horrible decisions. And get paid millions of dollars. They got to be held accountable. They had to be held accountable. Arthur Smith should not be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I hate to say it, but he shouldn't be the head coach. He shouldn't be the head coach making just bad decisions about a number 8 pick in a 2023 draft where you obviously know he's not a bust, but you're not using him the way you should be. I have Bijan Robinson at number 8. At number 8, okay? That's what I can tell you. At number 7, the Sun God has scored a career-high 9 touchdowns this season. He's had 100 or more receiving yards in 8 of 15 games. Half the games played, he's had over 100 yards. He's one of the most consistent receivers in the league. And Amon-Ra St. Brown had delivered double-digit PPR points and in all but 3 games this season. He's as reliable receiver as you could possibly get. He's one of the most reliable, even more reliable than Stephon Diggs, even more reliable than my next one that I'm going to talk about. 8 out of 15 games? Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. You want consistent numbers for your players. And Amon-Ra at number 7 is one of them. That's why I have him within the top 12 in a fantasy football draft in 2024. And I think he's not going to move. I mean, he may move up or down in my coming months leading up to fantasy football 2024. But Amon-Ra is absolutely consistent in what he does. All right? At number 7, one of my favorite wide receivers. I talked about this guy at least 2 or 3 years ago, and brought him to light. Because he was in purgatory. I would say purgatory when he was with the Tennessee Titans. But he had immense talent with a limited quarterback, and he still was putting up serious numbers until he got moved to Philly. And then he put monster numbers up. Monster numbers. In early 2023, Brown exceeded 125 receiving yards in 6 games, 6 straight games. Brown finished wide receiver 5.5 point PPR scoring in 2022, and he's currently wide receiver 5 in fantasy scoring, and he's my wide receiver 5 in 2024. Okay. That's A.J. Brown. Teamed up with his friend, one of his best friends, and Jalen Hurts, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And they had a hell of a combination. 6 straight games over 125 yards. Whoever had A.J. Brown was just smiling ear to ear every week for those 6 straight weeks. Every year. Every week for those 6 straight weeks. But he's still a stud. When a defensive coordinator has to plan against the Philadelphia Eagles, he's one of those guys that you have to plan against. You have to plan for. He's one of those guys. Without a doubt, he's one of those guys. All right? He's at number 6. So, as you can see, we're at number 6 right now. And we got 5 more after this. Okay? As you can see on the bottom scroll. As you can see. That means this program is not going to be an hour long. It's going to be shorter than that. Okay. But I wanted to put this out here, and then we can go from there. At number 5, off injured, but a monster when he's with his quarterback, Joe Burrow. Wasn't himself early in the season and to sustain a season-ending wrist injury. I'm talking about Joe Burrow after playing 10 games. But Jamar Chase still produced 96 receptions, 1,197 yards and 7 touchdowns, even though he dealt with injuries of his own. And if he and Burrow get full season together in 2024, there's 2 words I'm going to say. Look out. But the problem is this. I think Jamar Chase is injury prone, but you can't leave him out of the top 12. Because there's always that chance, just like Christian McCaffrey, most people thought he was injury prone. You got to have Jamar Chase within the top 12 because he's that dynamic of a wide receiver with the combination of Joe Burrow thrown to him. You got to have him in there. Joe Burrow is a hell of a quarterback, but he gets injured because the offensive line, for the most part, doesn't protect him well. That's the issue. So hopefully the Bengals shore up that offensive line even more so they can keep Joe Burrow in the lineup and upright to throw down the field to his wide receivers. Now, Joe Burrow probably going to lose one of his wide receivers in T. Higgins. He got Tyler Boyd, though. But Jamar Chase is the number 1 on that team in Cincinnati. You know that. All right. This guy, my next guy, come on, man. Look at it. Look at it on the bottom. On the bottom down there. Look at it. Number 4. C.D. Lamb. Excuse me. C.D. Lamb. If someone wanted to draft Lamb at number 2 in this draft, I wouldn't try and talk out of it. C.D. Lamb, 24 years old, is now a bona fide superstar. He enters week 18 leading all wide receivers in fantasy points and receptions. Hello. C.D. Lamb. I got him at number 4 because I'm thinking what I'm looking at for 2024 this year is I got 3 players that I would take in front of C.D. Lamb. But if somebody wanted to take him number 2, I ain't gonna hate him for it. Not gonna dispute it. That's your choice. But C.D. Lamb has been balling out forever. Ever. And like I said, he's only 24. Only 24 years old. Really? Wow. Only 24 years old. I thought he was a little older than that, but apparently he's not. And lo and behold, I have someone sitting here halfway through the show that I'm going to bring on and talk about this 2024 draft. I've only got 3 other players other than after C.D. Lamb. So this show's not going to go a full hour, obviously. But it may, because we may have another conversation to talk about. But I'm going to bring Mr. FSP in there. What's up, my man?
Hey, bro. You made a comment, because I was watching you on Twitter as I was doing my thing. Okay. C.D. Lamb, number 2 overall. I said I was going to stay out my feelings. I did.
You know what?
But no, bro.
Wait a minute. Listen to me. You know, Never mind. I'm not even gonna get
No,
into it.
you said you couldn't blame anybody if they took him number 2 overall.
That's exactly what I was going to tell
Yeah,
you.
and that's what I'm saying. No.
No. CeeDee Lamb's only 24 years old. He's going to be 25 next season.
Yep.
And I wouldn't hate anybody as much as CeeDee Lamb exploded this year. I expect the same or very close to the same production in 2024 as he did in 2023. So if they wanted to take him at number 2, I ain't going to hate him, because the fact is, my number 2 is a dynamic wide receiver, but it's just replacing one and putting CeeDee Lamb in that place. So,
man. Well, my only problem with that is, JT, is I don't know if Dak is going to be there next year or for the duration of the year, because he has a roller coaster type of career. He's very good one year, then he's down the next, just like Stephon Diggs, right? And
that's two different positions.
No. I'm saying what I'm saying is the quarterback play will dictate what CeeDee Lamb does, right? And if the quarterback is up and down, the receiver's production is going to be up and down. And that was my whole point in using Dak Prescott and comparing Stephon Diggs, because Stephon Diggs up and down, just like Josh Allen, up and down.
Let me put it this way. Dak Prescott was up and down earlier part of the year, and CeeDee Lamb, being the number 1 wide receiver and the main target in Dallas Cowboys offense, was not up and down.
Yeah, he was. He had 5 games where he complained. Why am I not, getting these targets? I'm the number 1 receiver in the NFL. I should be getting these things. Over the last 4 to 5 games, he's only seen double-digit targets.
And that's making my point that much more.
Yeah, but that wasn't the whole year.
No, and that's making my point that much more for this year. Realizing that if you do what you're supposed to do and get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, like he's been showing, then he's going to put up monster numbers. So, in my opinion, what he complained about and what took place in the latter part of the season is only
evidence.
Evidence that it should take place beginning of this year.
You're right. Should. That is the operative word, should. But it didn't this year. It only happened after he complained. And that's why I said, and I'm not trying to debate you. I'm just saying the production of CeeDee Lamb as a number 2 overall fantasy pick, if somebody were to do that, will be dictated on how Dak Prescott performs. This year, Dak has been hot. He just started getting to CeeDee Lamb towards the end of the year, which, as you said, and I agree, was a mistake. He should have been doing it all year. CD would have had more than 122 receptions.
Let me put it this way. I think that mistake that took place earlier in the season is going to be corrected going into 2024. And the fact that he's the number 1 wide receiver. And what I've always said is target equals opportunity. Equal opportunity. So he's going to get targeted like he should have. Or he's going to get targeted like he's been getting targeted later in the season. At the beginning of the 2024 season, there's not going to be. There's not going to be any hemming or hawing or anything like that. That's going to make a point. Make it a point. Just like Aaron Rodgers made it a point to get the ball to Devontae Adams, without a doubt. Get the ball to one of my best playmakers, and let the chips fall where they made it. With the chip fall
where they may.
Exactly. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna let you go ahead, because I just looked at your scrolling bar, and I said yesterday on Fantasy Sports and Politics, I was going to stay out of my feelings. But what you have up there, I'm going to be in my feelings.
I don't know what you have. I don't know what you have against a certain player.
No. It's not a certain player. It's like what I see down there. 8 of the 12 are receivers.
No, what are you talking about? 8 of the 12? No. No. I got a 1, 2.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan, Brees Hall, Gibbs, and CMC. Well, you went through the rest of them, but that's 4 running backs, bro. The rest are wide receivers.
No, it's not. You got the top pick. You got number 8,
Yeah,
9,
number 8, 9,
10. That's
10, 11.
11. It is and number 12. That's
Okay,
5.
5 of the 12
Yep.
are running backs, and the rest are wide receivers. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
That right there, I'm gonna get out my feelings. This is your show. You will be going to an hour now that I'm here.
Okay.
But
Let's move on, people. At number 3, now he only moved down a couple spots. You don't know who's the quarterback going to be. We're not sure who the quarterback's going to be, and that going to make a difference. I mean, he is the number 1 wide receiver. I'm talking about Justin Jefferson, and the talent is undeniable. Okay, he is the number 1 wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. The variable here is the Vikings quarterback situation. Kirk Cousins is about to hit free agency, and Minnesota doesn't have another decent quarterback on the roster. Now, I may have to drop Jefferson a couple of spots if the Vikings can't come up with a suitable quarterback solution. I'm just saying. Now, I have Justin Jefferson. Now, this is mock draft number 1, first one of the season. And I keep on saying this. I don't care. People don't like my mock draft, but this is the first one of the season, and it's a work in progress. What you see here is more than likely not what you're going to see coming end of August or beginning of September. For the most part, I can say there's probably going to be the majority of the players are still going to be in top 12, depending on what I feel at the time. They may not be in the same position, but they're more than likely are going to be within the top 12, unless you get an injury or circumstances warrant them being pushed out of the top 12. I'll put it that way. But I have Justin Jefferson at number 3. Some people took him at number 1. Some people took him at number 2. I have right now, he doesn't move down that far. I have him at number 3. Mr. FSP, since you're here with me, talk to me.
You know, I couldn't disagree with you at this point. I actually like your top 3. I really do.
Okay.
I'm only worried about, is somebody going to retire or is somebody going to, fall back next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, if you left this top 3 as is throughout, I could not disagree with you.
Okay. I'm surprised about that because I know you have how much of a it seems to me that you don't like my number 2, but that's okay.
I didn't. No. I didn't say I didn't like your number 2. I said I would not change your top 3.
Well, let me put it this way.
That's what I said.
In the past, you didn't like him within the top 12.
Well, that's in the past. Things in the past are in the past for a reason, brother.
Okay.
Let's be unified.
Now, this guy, I really fell in love with this guy, and I can't dispute if somebody wants to take him number 1. I can't. He won't be everyone's number 1 wide receiver, but he delivered the goods week in and week out. There's only one instance this season in which he didn't have at least 60 yards or a touchdown. He's topped 110 receptions and 1,700 receiving yards each of his 2 seasons with the Dolphins. The chemistry between Hill and Tua and head coach is like my name, magic.
Oh,
it's
my
like
God.
magic. It's like pure magic. I mean,
I got a question before you go further.
Go
How many yards does this receiver have this year right now?
Who? Tyreek Hill?
Yes. How many yards does he have this year right now?
Okay, hold on. Let me just see real quick. I'm gonna look it up for you. And let me get. Come on. Let me get to this to Mr. Hill and see
And
exactly.
your Facebook name is Magic Man, not everything else is JT or
It's
the fake master. Yeah.
but it's got magic in it. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
It's,
Magic been in a lot of things. I hope not.
let me see stats. Tyreek Hill has. Let me see what Tyreek Hill has. 1,717 yards as we
I got a
speak.
bold prediction.
Yeah.
Bold prediction.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill sets this. Oh no, because Flipper Anderson had 300 yards receiving in a game. So Tyreek Hill
Yeah.
gets 2,000 yards
Okay.
this year by getting 284. That puts him over 2001.
Yeah.
284 yards tonight versus the Buffalo Bills.
You know they're gonna really try to get him that. You know that, right?
That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, you know they're really going to try to.
With Waddle out and Morris out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. And Buffalo is susceptible to the pass in their secondary.
And they're playing at home. Miami playing at home.
Yes,
boy.
they are.
Oh,
yes,
boy.
they are. That's why I just made the bold prediction I just made.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's that bold to me, but I understand what you're saying.
284 yards receiving in a game ain't bold?
Hey, well, okay. It's the bold prediction. Okay. It's a prediction that I'm looking forward to being able to watch because he's going to get targeted early enough, and he's at 158 targets this year with 112 receptions and 1,717 yards.
And he wants to beat CeeDee Lamb because CeeDee Lamb has 122. CeeDee Lamb probably get another 8 to 10 receptions today.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants the reception total as well as receiving yards. Now, most likely he'll have maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns out of that if he's doing all that. But this is why I just said I can't complain about your top 3. Okay. I really can't. You can mix them up however you want, but I cannot complain about your top 3. Only thing I can say is, depending on where Justin Jefferson is next year and who his quarterback is, will determine if he should be number 1 overall, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? I have a hard time, and I made a fatal flaw in my mock drafts over the last year, and I freely admit it that a player that I didn't have at number 1 should have been number 1, and I had him at number 1 so many consistent times with a lot of flack from a certain person. And I'm not going to
really.
Yes,
really,
yeah, really, because you gave me a lot of flack for it because of.
So you gave in to peer pressure. That's what you just said.
No, I didn't give into peer pressure. I gave into.
DMC is the number 1 fantasy player this year. That's outside of Tyreek, but
I mean,
yeah.
Let me do this.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. I'll sit in a corner and pout like you do.
Through 17 weeks, Christian McCaffrey generated 102 more half-point PPR points than the next highest scorer of the running back position. That was Raheem Mostert. The only 2 players to outscore CMC this season in half-point PPR were Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, and they were quarterbacks. In full PPR, McCaffrey outscored them all. Christian McCaffrey is a perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense and isn't shy about working McCaffrey hard. Now, I'll premise it like this. I talked about Derrick Henry, and his time was up. And his time was up. It was obvious this season his time was up. I wouldn't say it's a bold prediction, but I'm gonna make this prediction right now. This is the last last hurrah for Christian McCaffrey being at number 1. He turns 28, if I'm not mistaken, this year. He's been used extensively, whether he was in Carolina or in San Francisco. His shelf life is getting shorter. Okay. His shelf life is getting shorter. So for those that are going to be drafting in fantasy football, if I have the opportunity to draft at number 1, I would suggest you take Christian McCaffrey. I would highly suggest you take Christian McCaffrey, because this may be the last time that you'd be able to get him at number 1. Be an effective running back, because as running backs, it used to be 30. It used to be at the age of 30, running backs declined dramatically. But because running backs, especially high caliber running, and get used up a lot, that age drops at 29, 28. Just look at the dynamic running backs that have declined dramatically at 28, 29, 30. Okay. So Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he's been used hard. Okay. He's been used a lot in Carolina and used a lot in San Francisco. And you only got so many carries and catches in your body. It's just like a car. You can't run a car 100 miles an hour for 100 miles. You can't do it. Something's going to break. That's what I'm talking about. What's your thought?
So, firstly, you start off by making it sound like it was a bad thing that I told you CMC should be number 1. So that was actually, you should thank me for that, because it's the truth. But besides that, see, I agree with what you're saying about his wear and tear. What I don't agree with you about is him being number 1 for the final year. The reason why I say that is because you are absolutely right. The wear and tear on a running back that is versatile is a lot different than a running back such as Derrick Henry, because CMC runs patterns, not just like a swing route out the backfield. He's running posts, he's running corners, he's running all types of pass reception routes, and he's opened his body up to more damage as opposed to being able to brace for the damage as a running back and deliver the blow.
Right.
And over the past year or so, he's been dealing with a lot of little injuries here and there. And Kyle Shanahan is known for using up a running back.
Yep.
That's what he's known for. Like 3 or 4 years, and then you got to move on to the next best thing,
yep,
which is pretty much the lifespan of a running back that's in the NFL. Now, CMC is way more different than most running backs in the NFL. The good thing is, what's my man that's his backup right now?
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell used to be the starting running back, and can take a lot of the blows for him next year if he can stay healthy, right? So there may be a bigger split next year, and definitely I believe the year after that, because I believe that's when CMC's contract is up for renewal, or he gets the big money.
Right.
And once you get the big money, that's when they're looking to move you or cut you or something like that.
Right.
It's rare, like in a Derrick Henry situation. Last year of his contract, they kept him. And he's obviously gone next year along with Tannehill because of what you're saying. Wear and tear, age, and the way they use them.
Right.
So, I agree with you, and but I agree with you and I disagree with you, so to speak.
Yep.
So,
all right. Well, it's about that time. I'm not going to. Oh, you know what? I was right on two games yesterday.
There's only 2 games yesterday.
I was right. I was right on the 2 games yesterday. There was
Okay.
only 2 games, and I told you when we were going over the games yesterday that I like Pittsburgh, and I told you I like the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it pretty much was pretty much obvious to me because I mean you're playing against number ones and number twos um, on both. Well, not both, but the Colts and the Texans. You can see who the better team was. So
Because that was ones versus ones. That wasn't ones versus twos.
no, I'm just saying you can see who the best team was. That's being ones against ones. I understand that, but I only went because of that because of the quarterback. I think I said that yesterday because of the quarterback. It's a better quarterback on the Texans, even though he's a rookie, than again is against Garner Minshew. And the reason I said Garner Minshew is uh, uh, the best fit for the Colts at the time because the head coach came from Philly and so did Garner Minshew. So in that matter, you got the those two parts of your teaser correct. Ravens plus 10 and the Texans plus 7. Oh, you got the Ravens wrong.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. Ravens lost by how much?
Oh,
7.
okay.
And it would have been a push had they not gotten the field goal.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. And then you had Texans plus 7, so you quite naturally you won that one. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so
Oh, well, tell everybody else the rest of the teasers. Since you
okay.
don't go over the teasers.
All right. Let me go over the teasers again. The teasers. I had a comment and I missed the comment. Let me see this comment.
you gonna see the comment?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Whatever. I
I'm
whatever.
trying to show you love.
Whatever. Anyway, the teasers were the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game teaser. The first one was Ravens plus 10. Now you can use it as a 5-team teaser because
Yeah, you can.
2 games have been played already. The Ravens were plus 10.
4-game teaser. 4-game teaser.
No, it's a 5-game. And I'll
No.
tell you, wait a minute, and I'll tell you why it's a 5-game when I get to the end of it. Okay, let's
Okay.
be patient, Grasshopper.
No.
Ravens were a plus 10. Texans was a plus 7.5. Falcons was a 10.5. Philly was a 0.5 plus 0.5.
Nah. Yeah. 0.5. Yeah.
Tampa Bay was the same thing. Miami was a plus 9.5. And then the last thing you talked about was Washington plus 20.5.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Because there were 2 teasers. Only difference was I had Washington in one and not in the other.
That's why I mentioned all of them. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. FSP, I'm going to be rubbing my hands together come 4:00 when you have to pay me
Oh my God.
Benjamin
Dude.
for my bold prediction in the beginning of the season that a certain team would not win their division. And we know who that is. Jacksonville Jaguars playing at 1:00, Tennessee Titans. That game's going to be over by 3:30, 4:00. And then
let me help the people out real quick.
Okay.
So JT and I had 2 wagers this year.
Mm-hmm.
JT paid me promptly, and I thank you for that. Like directly after he lost the first wager. However, he also had the advantage in this second wager that we're talking about. He had a 3-1 odds. And Jacksonville, all they had to do was take care of business the last 2 weeks and it would have been done, but they didn't. They lost, and then they finally won last week. So now with Houston winning yesterday, which I was rooting for, Jacksonville needs to beat Tennessee at Tennessee today in order to win a division and make the playoffs. If they lose, they're out.
Yep. They're out. Completely
They're out.
They're out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if they win, no matter what happens with Buffalo, they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Buffalo's out. Because Buffalo, I take that back. Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Pittsburgh needs Jacksonville to lose in order to remain in the playoffs. If Jacksonville wins, Pittsburgh's gone. Because they'll win a division. Houston will be the number 7 seed. And Buffalo and Miami will just either flip-flop. It won't matter who wins the game tonight. It'll just be an issue of who wins the division and who's the number 6 seed. And the thing is, Jacksonville's game plays a big role in all of this. I will tell you this, Mr. Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Your luck has not changed with me. I will have that Benjamin in my account.
Okay.
By 4:00.
Okay.
Because Jacksonville's going to win the game.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're going to win it in style. I'm not saying they're going to be, a blowout.
Okay.
But Trevor Lawrence is going to play this game, and I believe this is me. You said something when they first played early in the year or several weeks ago. Calvin really needs to have a baller game that game. He did. Calvin really will have another baller game this game. However, Travis Etienne will have a bigger game because they're going to protect Trevor Lawrence by running the rock and setting up play action.
Well, let me just enlighten you there, Grasshopper. There's a strong chance that Christian
Kirk
in this game. So
that Christian Kirk's going to play?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought they just activated his 21-day window. I didn't know they activated him.
As far as I know, as far as I can tell, I think Christian Kirk is
well, that's going to make it worse for your odds if Christian Kirk plays. Why? Because that's his buddy. He'll get the ball out to Christian Kirk quicker than he'll get it out to Calvin Ridley.
We'll see. And
then Evan Ingram but the main point that I want to make is they're going to run the rock with Travis Etienne. They're going to have to protect Trevor Lawrence.
Then the issue is this. Then the problem for Jacksonville is this. Tennessee strong suit in the defense is playing against the run.
Oh yeah,
but
play action.
It's against the run.
But the concern, not the concern, but the issue is play action. They will have to run the ball to set up those passes for Kirk, for Ridley. And you can't just, and Peterson said it earlier this week, they have to keep it simple. And keeping it simple means what, JT? Run the ball and get the ball out your hands quick. You don't need all these fancy plays that leave your quarterback vulnerable to get the job done.
Well,
literally.
I have to say this. Doug Peterson can't help himself. He likes to throw the football.
I know. I knew you were going to say that, and I agree with you. But he wants his job. And
he's got his job.
No. Dude, listen to me. I'm telling you, this is my thought process on that because last year was a disappointment. Even though they made it to the playoffs and they beat the Chargers in the first round, but they laid an egg versus KC the next round, right?
Okay.
Peterson has mismanaged this year poorly. 3 games. 1 versus Cleveland where they could have taken it into overtime. The week after that, this whole 5-game losing streak, Shad Khan he was asked a little bit about Peterson's job security and his thoughts on the team. Shad wasn't negative, but he sure wasn't positive. He said, we need to fix things.
Okay.
And when the owner says we need to fix things and you lose 2 games directly after that, and your chances of making the playoffs hinge on you winning the division last game of the season, it's not looking good. I know Ron Rivera is probably going to be gone tomorrow. I would not be surprised if Jacksonville loses this game. I would not be surprised if they part ways with him and consider Eric Bieniemy, Harbaugh, or old dude from Detroit, the offensive Johnson from Detroit.
I really want the enemy to go to Atlanta. I really want.
I do too.
To Atlanta.
I do too. But what I'm telling you is,
really want him to go to Atlanta. Oh my God!
If they want to throw the ball like they're throwing and they want to do what they're doing with Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, I said Evan Ingram already, and that defense, I'd go there. I would go there. I would at least make an attempt. And Atlanta will probably give him the best opportunity to win because the NFC South is worse than the AFC South, in my opinion, especially looking at two teams that were at the top of the draft last year, fighting for the playoffs this year. Oh, and the AFC is better. The AFC is better than the NFC.
And Atlanta's defense ain't that far off.
It's not, but they're older.
Yeah,
it's older, man. I would say this year it showed you what they could do as a new unit. Next year they'll be solid, right? But next year you have to start getting pieces in this upcoming draft to replace those guys after next year. Mm-hmm. Because how many years left do you think our boy, oh my God, deep voice, talks like this all the time, played in Baltimore, played in Jacksonville, defensive tackle, played in Arizona. Oh my God, I forgot. He's a defensive tackle, defensive end. I forgot his name that damn quick. But he's the heart and soul of that defensive line. Then you got Jesse Bates at safety. Bates is good, but how many more years does he have left?
Yeah, that's true too.
Right?
Yep.
So you got a great defense that's kept you in the hunt for your division title this year, but they're older and longer in the tooth and cost money. Next year is probably the last year you're going to see that defense together. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. And I agree with you. Eric Bieniemy to Atlanta would be awesome because of what he could do with the talent on the offensive side of the ball. Right?
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts. And I know you got stuff you got to do. I hear your phone ringing and you got your ESPN little.
All right, people. Next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be back here again on those three platforms. X, which is Twitter, quite naturally. YouTube.
Hey, my comment from Twitter showed up on your regular feed.
It showed up. It says,
That's interesting.
What are you talking about?
Well, no. I'm saying it showed up on your regular feed now as a private message.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's the first time that Okay, because we had 4 people yesterday on Twitter watching the show.
Okay.
And I didn't know if they couldn't comment or not, but that lets me know that somebody commented on Twitter and you can comment back. Okay, on X. My bad, not Twitter. X. I don't want you to get sued.
Yeah, it was on X. What are you talking about? Yep. All right. Oh, people, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll find me on X, which is Twitter. You know that.
His porn.
YouTube, and also to Facebook, people. And also tune in next week, Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the FSP show, Fantasy Sports and Politics. My co-host right today is the host of that show. I co-host it. And we'll be talking about
let me tell you what you're talking about next Saturday. We have a special guest, Clarence Nixon Jr. You might remember him, might not. He was on the show a couple times in the past when we were on the audio platform. I'm not going to give him any names or any credit.
Okay.
But he's coming in to talk about Cat Williams and his situation.
Okay.
Because Clarence, since then, a couple years ago, when he was on the show, he's become a full-time comedian.
Okay.
And he has his thoughts on joke stealing, the whole situation, because he's had several of his jokes stolen right in front of him before he goes on stage.
Get out of here.
It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about that. We're going to have him on live. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. And hopefully we do the divisional draft. And as seen yesterday, I will be drafting for the champion who has the number 2 pick. So JT, get ready. You're going to face Hoss next year twice.
Whatever.
I'm putting you and Dave if Dave don't get picked. So you're going to be Hoss's number 1 pick unless you Sammy's number 1 pick, which he said he didn't want you no more, which is interesting. But that's what we're going to do next Saturday, the 13th.
Okay.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. And we're going to talk about the national championship game, the Huskies versus Michigan.
Yeah, that will have been played already, and we'll be talking about that.
Yep.
All right, people. It's been a real. Enjoy the games, and you'll be able to see if one of your teams is going to be in the playoffs or not, or if they're set in the playoffs, who their opponent may be after the weekend of games. Mr. FSP, thanks for joining me. People, we're out of here. See ya.